On today's episode of Touch 'em All Sports Radio, we talk Super Bowl and we talk shorter football. We're joined by head coach Zach Morrison. Coach, thanks so much for being here today.
I really appreciate the invite.
Big game last night, Philadelphia, New England. We'll talk about that later. But, Coach, kind of run us through. You're the new coach. Congratulations on that, first and foremost. I know that's a big deal to come back to where you graduated from and to lead these guys to a new chapter. Kind of give us a lowdown of what the future looks like for the Hawks football program.
Well, you know, we've had some struggles the last couple of years, but we're trying to bring in the right people, and I've tried to bring in the right coaching staff, and I've vetted a lot of these coaches and asked them some tough questions. And you know, one thing that we're going to bring back is just the concept of family and relationships to this program, and being able for coaches to be able to share their testimony was important to me, and that's one thing that I asked all of them to do because I think that brings the team even closer together.
Right.
But you know, we're recruiting. We've been here for about 3.5, 4 weeks, and since that day, day one, I was by myself. The offense coordinator, Riley Murphy, came in about 4 days later, and we grinded for a couple days. And all of a sudden, you got a defensive coordinator come in there, Chad Creamer. He was at Davidson College for 4 years. Then he was at University of Cincinnati as the defensive quality control coach for the last couple, and then we hired defensive line coach Nick Workman from Lindsey Wilson. He was the recruiting coordinator there. He's going to take over that for us here as well. And then was able to bring wide receivers coach, tight end coach, Drew Burnham, and he was at Murray State. And he was the director of football operations from there, Division I program. Coming back home, he's a model guy. And then a Sanford All-American, former NFL player, Kelsey Pope, is going to coach running backs for us. And I've known him for years, and I know his character, and I know the type of person he is. And, you know, since the day that we brought everyone in, I did leave one out. We had just hired Will Robinson to coach defensive backs as well. So he'll be coming in actually today. But since we've been brought in, we've kind of been reevaluating what we have and what we have coming back, and you know, seeing issues both academically and issues on the field. We've been recruiting, you know, high quality, high character guys, and right now I think we're at 22 for the commitments for Wednesday, and that number is growing, you know, by the minute. You know, we're trying to bring around 40 to 45 in for this freshman class, and really I sit down with all of them. A lot of kids, you know, Twitter's the hottest thing, and everyone wants to tweet when they've been offered by so-and-so, and I sit down with these people and over message, DMs, they're like, are you offering me? And I always have to tell them no until you can sit down with me and I can tell you why shorter's so important to me and why, you know, I hope that shorter's important to you one day. And, you know, this is the difference in just, you know, putting it out there for my 15th offer to this school.
Right.
You know the impact this school had on my life and what we want to make on yours as well. So, you know, we're going after character people, going after quality people, and, you know, I'm really pushing the academic card for my staff as well because I want guys that, you know, that can push the envelope both in the classroom and on the field.
Absolutely. And a lot of people say what happens off the field factors more into, like, what happens in the classroom factors more into what goes on the field than, you know, some people say practice.
Right.
And it's all about character, and I think that's what's important. So how important is it to build a relationship with these players? You
know, when I came in here in 2005, my first year, it was I came for an opportunity, and they set 135 of us down in the gym. And Coach Phil Jones told all of us, he said, we're going to build this program on one concept, one thing alone, and that is relationships. And at the time, as an 18, 19-year-old kid, we're all sitting there going, we just want to play football. That's all we want to do is play football. Yeah. And then we start buying into that idea and into the team instead of me and becoming a family. And then you start trusting one another. When you start trusting the guy next to you that you know he's going to do his job because you've been playing with him for 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years. If you're a 4-year starter, then, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, you can control the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, just by trusting other people on the team that are playing with you.
Absolutely. And Coach, we really look forward to next fall and seeing what you and these new guys can get together and put on the field, and because me and Ethan are both real big football guys, and we're real excited for this. But we're going to go ahead and move on and play our game, Minute to Win It. This is between you and Ethan Payne. It is our trademark game where we give you a topic and you have 1 minute to name as many Gulf South Conference teams as you can.
Okay.
So are you ready?
Is it only football?
It can be any. any Gulf South Conference team, all the way down to lacrosse or equestrian.
Okay.
So we'll start the timer. You can use your notepad on your phone if you'd like, or if you just name them off the top of your head.
I'll just use the top of my head.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, and go.
Florida Tech, West Florida, Mississippi College, Delta State, West Georgia, Valdosta State. And then you got Union College, I believe, is in there for basketball. And Shorter, of course. And I think there may be one more. I just can't remember.
So how many you got so far?
Oh, I wasn't even counting.
Wasn't even counting. Neither was I.
Valdosta State, if I didn't say Valdosta State.
Did you say West Georgia?
Yeah.
West Alabama.
Yes.
Alabama, Montgomery.
I didn't say that one.
That's one. I think that's like not football though. So Ethan, how many you got?
West Georgia, West Florida, Delta State, Valdosta State, Shorter, Mississippi College, West Alabama, North Alabama, and Florida Tech.
North Alabama is no longer in this
No
conference.
longer?
North Greenville now is in the conference.
Ah. Well,
So that's 1, 2,
breaking
3,
news:
4,
North
5,
Greenville
6, 7.
now in the
I have 8.
Gulf
North
South.
Greenville will be joining the Gulf South since North Alabama is going up to FCS.
Wow. Did not know
I
that.
didn't know that either.
Ethan, do you have any questions, any comments for Coach Morrison?
No, I think you had a great job of getting it all out there.
Yeah.
Start off. Seeing the hardships the past 3 years of the record, obviously not reflecting very well. What's it like convincing recruits that things are going to change with you here now? Like if they say you guys didn't win a game before, and you have to say now I'm here. It's like how hard is that to talk them into taking the risk?
I think that if you just talk to them about the tradition that was established when Coach Jones was here, and 2000, when we came in 2005, we won 3 games as freshmen because we came together. We win 6 the next year. We win 7 the next year. We win a conference championship and a ring our senior year. Led the entire nation in rushing from Division I to NAIA. It was the most fun year we'd ever have. We were top 10 in the country. We had a top 8 defense. And that was 2008. So we're not far removed from that. I mean, It seems like that. When you look at your schooling, that is a long time ago. But in the grand scheme of things, 8 years ago is, 10 years ago is not that long ago. So talking about just establishing doing things the right way and bringing in the right people and going after quality kids. I mean, it is hard sometimes, but I think that if student athletes in high school, if they look at it and we tell them, this is the best conference in Division II, plain and simple. There's 10 players on active NFL rosters right now. There's 22 if you include the practice squad. So in the NFL from our conference, so competition-wise, you're going to have the best competition out there. And really and truly what I push to all these student athletes that are in high school and the ones that are here right now is that if you compete for a job as a freshman and you win the job, then you're playing for 4 years in the greatest conference in Division II football. So that's a good selling feature for me, and I think that it's a good selling feature for the school because we can have 4-year starters on the offensive line, or if these guys are pushing each other at practice and pushing each other every day in the classroom and in the weight room, we're going to be successful no matter what. I mean, I think that's the greatest thing that we can offer is we play in the greatest conference, and if you come together as a family, as a team, then you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. And with signing day coming up on Wednesday, kind of walk us through if Ethan and I were recruits, kind of walk us through what the recruiting process would be.
Well, we would evaluate film on you, and once we would do that, we'd reach out to your coach if we hadn't already done that and ask for your unofficial transcripts, your GPA, your SAT or ACT, because we are a private institution and we do give stackable money if you have a higher GPA. Mm-hmm. So we want those guys that are over a 3.5 really is what we're looking for, because then we can really put packages together for them. But when it comes to the recruiting process, we're watching film, we're breaking down film. I've probably watched over 700 films on Huddle in the last 3 weeks. My coaches, I've pushed a lot out to them, so I've had to delegate a little bit and say, you watch the running backs, you watch the receivers, I'll watch the offensive line. Excuse me. And once we do that, they'll come to me and say, these are my top 5 guys. Can you watch them, evaluate them, Coach Morrison? Of course I can. I'll watch the guys, and then we'll start looking at putting together a package for them. We would like to have them up on campus. I think that's one of our major selling features. We've only been here for 3.5 weeks. It's hard for us to go out into the schools, even though there are so many local schools that are really, really good at football. It's easier to bring in mass groups of 25, 26, 30 people, because we've done that over the last couple weeks. And for them to see the campus, experience the campus, and hear my message of who I am and what I stand for and what I represent, that's how we get those guys in here, because we do have a great campus. I mean, it's a beautiful campus.
Absolutely.
And it's really convenient. You can wake up in Roberts or in Hazel, walk across the street, you can grab breakfast, and you're in class in like 10 minutes total. I mean, it's really and we've got some things that need to be improved upon, but overall, I love this campus. I think that it's really and truly it's small town Georgia, but the downtown area, we have that as a selling feature as well. So if we brought you on an official visit, we would we'd do a presentation. We'd have you go on a tour of the campus. After that, we would take you to the stadium, and we'd do a photo op there with some jerseys. And put some footballs out there. After that, we would go. We've taken kids to Mellow Mushroom, the recruits to Mellow Mushroom. We fed the recruits and just gave the families a list of restaurants, because there's about 50 restaurants locally that they can go to, and we feed the guys. We hang out with them, and we bring some of our players along as well to kind of communicate what we're trying to do and our vision, our plan, and a lot of them leave going, this is where I want to play football. I want to play for Coach Morrison. I want to play for Shorter University.
And when it comes to recruiting, it's all about first impressions. And the relationships that you build with people. And I think that Shorter does a really good job of building personal relationships with people.
I got a phone call last night. It was my top recruit. I'm not going to give you his name yet because he wants to announce it tomorrow. Top recruit for the offensive line. So excited about this guy. But he called me last night because he's been offered by multiple Division II schools. Had some even FCS looks, and I was like, man, I mean, if we could get him, it'd be great. He called me at halftime last night and said, I just want to let you know I've made a decision. And he said, I want to be a Shorter Hawk. And I said, that's fantastic. His family starts yelling in the background, and then his dad picks up the phone and says, listen, all those schools may have had a little bit nicer facilities. They may have had a little bit more. They may have offered, a better cafeteria, better classes. But one thing they didn't have was you, Coach Morrison, and that just made my day, because that shows that what my vision and my plan for success for this university is going to work. We are going to bring quality people in, because he's had 6 to 8 Division II offers, and he just went to Wingate this past weekend. They gave him more money than we can give him, and he chose us over them.
Wow, it's the intangibles,
right?
The things that you can't just necessarily, things that money can't buy,
right? And
that's huge, and I think Shorter does a really good job of that.
Before we move on, I do have one question from the recruiting stance. What is the one biggest thing a recruit can do to turn you off from wanting to recruit him further? What's one thing they can do to make you not want to be interested in him anymore?
Grades. Grades are the biggest issue. If we look at a kid, even if you are a stud athlete, you run a 4.4 40, you're bench pressing 500 pounds, and you have a 2.2 GPA. I've got problems with that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a lack of effort. And we do call the coaches. We do talk, to the schools and ask about their character, and are they trying, and why does an individual have a 2.2 in high school when you go to class, you study a little bit, and you can make A's and B's in high school if you just put a little bit of effort in there. That just shows me that they'll put effort on the field, but that's the only place they'll put it. And I want character people that'll do it all over the place. I want quality individuals that care about their grades, that care about what goes on in the weight room and what happens on the field.
Absolutely. I think that, like you said, grades, it goes a long way. Just your effort, and like you said, effort goes both ways. And
right.
Coach Morrison, we really appreciated you being on the show today. We know you're crunched on time, so you are free to leave once you make one comment about last night's Super Bowl.
I thought it was a great game.
Absolutely.
I really thought. I thought at the end, I thought maybe, just maybe, the Patriots would do it again. And I didn't want it to happen. I was rooting against them.
Did anyone?
I was with some friends, and there was one out of 12 that was rooting for the Patriots, and we were not very happy with her. But because at the end of the game, she's standing on the couch just rooting them on, and let's go, let's go, let's go. We were just like, let's this game be over. Let's let the Eagles win this thing. Yeah. The one takeaway from the game was after the game, looking at what the individuals said. You look at Nick Foles and giving glory to God. That was a first response. And you look at, the tight end, Ertz, talking about, you can do all things through Christ.
That's huge.
And I thought I retweeted that this morning just because of some things they said, and that was their first reaction. Instead of, it's not about me, it's not about me at all, it's about glorifying Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
And I wish we had more of that in our society instead of all the negativity that we see a lot in the NFL and professional sports when, people are just look at me, and, you step back and you say it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than the team. And that was the biggest thing, for me at least, from last night's game.
Absolutely, yeah. I noticed that as well. And something else that I noticed is that and I don't know if you noticed it or not, but when Tom Brady walked off the field, excuse me, him and Bill Belichick didn't shake anybody's hands. Nobody's.
I didn't notice
I'm
that.
sure Belichick shook Doug Peterson's hand, but Tom Brady just off the field.
Yeah.
Bummer. Well, Coach Morrison, thanks so much for being here today. We know you're crunched on time. This really means a lot. Excuse me, to me and Ethan. We'd love to have you back, and you're free to go.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Well, Ethan, moving on to the Super Bowl, let's talk about it. What were some things that you took away from the game?
I really liked the game. I liked how it was a hard-fought battle the whole time. But when it comes down to it, what I sit there and think about is the Patriots have two men who are 39 and 40 years old, respectively. They're competing at such an amazingly high level to be that old.
Right.
To be that old. When you sit down and look at it, imagine a 40-year-old Tom Brady running sprints after practice, doing conditioning. Just imagine a 40-year-old person out there doing conditioning tests.
I don't understand. Like, he's Tom Brady is timeless, is ageless, is the argument that people make. He's a 40-year-old man, and he's out there doing things that 20-year-olds wish they could do. Tom Brady, I don't know if you knew this or not, threw for 500-plus yards last night as a 40-year-old.
Yeah, I did catch that, Justin. But in the end, it doesn't really matter because they lost. They lost the game. Who's going to remember that?
No one's going to remember that Tom Brady, a 40-year-old man, threw for 500-plus yards in the Super Bowl. What they will remember is the guts.
Nick Foles, the backup quarterback, coming in and winning a Super Bowl for a team that came in as number one seed and turned instantly into an underdog. And the gutsy play call by Doug Peterson. It was really, really gutsy, and it's pretty ironic. They tried that after the Patriots tried the same play, and it didn't work.
It's insane. You're fourth and goal, and you run a little trick play to where Nick Foles runs off to the side, and Trey Burton throws a touchdown pass. Holy cow! That's gutsy. But it's something that we were talking about with Coach Morrison is that Tom Brady walked off the field and didn't shake anyone's hand. How are you gonna sit and how can you?
I don't know if it's like a sign of disrespect, if it's his disappointment. I don't understand what would make him do that. Because he's a grown man making grown man decisions.
Right.
He's been there on that stage 8 times now, I believe. He knows what's supposed to happen. He's been there enough times. It's like clockwork for him. He knows how the Super Bowl's supposed to go. So what would make him not want to shake hands after that game?
Matt Ryan blew a 25-point lead and still stuck around and shook everybody's hands. And Tom Brady loses a nail biter and you don't shake anyone's hands. I just don't. Ethan, do you think Nick Foles starts somewhere next year? Not necessarily Philadelphia?
I don't believe he'll start at Philadelphia because, he just won a Super Bowl. But why would you take away Carson Wentz's season he had? Yeah, he had more. Nick Foles had three great games, correct?
Yeah, all the playoff games.
How many? Carson Wentz had 14.
Yeah, Carson Wentz.
It was week 14 when he went down. I don't know how many buys they had by that point.
But Carson
he had a
Wentz
great
was
season.
the reason. Yeah, he was the reason they got there.
So
Nick Foles came up when it counted, but I think he starts somewhere.
Yeah, the front office has made has a fantastic opportunity now. That is perfect trade bait. You know, you have a guy who just won a Super Bowl, and once you go out and get you whatever position you want at this point, I mean, you won't get everything from the Browns. You can do it. They need a quarterback.
He's going to get some money. That is for sure. Looking at more Philadelphia offense, Alshon Jeffrey balled out last night. Had some incredible catches. Did you see any of those?
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. Yeah, I didn't even realize he played for the Eagles, if we're being honest. I still thought he was with the Bears. But, you know, he had a fantastic game, and I don't think they're really going to key on that. I figured that the Patriots were assuming that the tight ends were going to play a huge role in having Zach Ertz. And I don't know if it's true, but I heard the announcers last night say that Zach Ertz should not drop a single pass all season long.
Wow. I do know that he was the Zach Ertz was the Philadelphia Eagles' leading receiver in the regular season. I don't know if he didn't drop a pass all season.
That's what I heard one of the announcers of the game say. I can't say I didn't really like the announcers. The commentators, for being honest, they seemed pretty biased to me.
Chris Collingsworth, I believe, was the color commentator, and he was very seemed he was very lopsided.
Yeah, I got that vibe too.
Especially on Zach Ertz's touchdown.
He said, and every time the Eagles scored, he said, and it's like he was waiting for it to not be a touchdown. I didn't understand that, but because he didn't seem like he was rooting for the Patriots by any means, but he just seemed like he was rooting against the Eagles.
Right, and I get that in today's NFL, it's hard to determine what's a catch, what's not a catch, and I get that you can't jump to conclusions when you're calling a touchdown on air, but the way he went about it, he was very very negative towards the Philadelphia Eagles.
When they were reviewing that touchdown catch by Zach Ertz, he was sitting there in the booth and he was going, "Yeah, this is not a catch. His toe went out of bounds right here." And they said, "Yeah, it's a touchdown." And he said, "I don't agree with that. That's not what I would do. That's a bad call."
And the thing with Zach Ertz's touchdown, I don't understand why it took so long to review it.
It took a very long time.
It took unnecessarily long to review it. Zach Ertz caught the ball, took 3 steps, and got hit in the legs, and then flipped over the guy, and the ball broke the plane. That's a touchdown. It should have took maybe 30 seconds to review.
The one I was referring to is whenever I forgot who it was. I'm not sure if it's Zach Ertz, but when he caught it in the end zone,
a foot stepped out of the end
that
zone.
One was he was disagreeing with that call.
It should have took longer to review that one.
Absolutely.
Than it did.
Like he
Zach
bobbled
Ertz.
it landed on him.
Right. I shouldn't have even.
He crossed the plane. It doesn't. The ball crosses the plane while it's in your control. It's a touchdown. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have been that long.
Philly's defense stepped up huge last night with a strip sack of Tom Brady. With
about the only defense of the game.
Really. No joke. Tom Brady.
We went in there and talked about how it was going to be 2 high-powered offenses, and we had to correct our fault saying we were wrong. They were really good defenses, but it didn't really show.
In the end, it ended up being that it was
high-powered offenses putting up a bunch of yards and a bunch of points as we suggested it might be.
But when there was defense, it was huge.
Absolutely.
Strip sack of Tom Brady.
There's an interception at one point. I looked away for that part, but I believe there's an interception at some point.
One interception. There was one punt the whole night.
There's as many receiving touchdowns by quarterbacks as there were punts.
That is very true. Philly's defense stepped up huge. Strip sack of Tom Brady when he's about to put in his 2-minute offense magic. Brings me to that the MVP of the NFL has not won the Super Bowl in the 21st century still.
And the Patriots broke their streak of winning with the white jerseys.
That is
some very superstitious things happening.
A lot of superstitions were continued and broken.
And the same thing happened when I was wrong in stating it last week. I stated it wrong, but the whole Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, it's still happening. They have never won a championship the same year. I messed it up last time, but it's still
Bill
still
Belichick and Nick Saban have not won championships in the same year. If Alabama wins the national championship one year, it's almost a shoe-in that New England will not win the Super Bowl, and vice versa with New England and Alabama. Looking at the Patriots roster, there's some age and there's some health concerns.
What I'll think of is, at what point does Tom Brady decide enough is enough? Does it take another Super Bowl, another two?
Does it take another Super Bowl win or another Super Bowl loss?
Is he waiting for literal retirement age, get 66, and then call it quits? I mean, what's he waiting on? He's 40 years old. He's already proven he's one of the best of all. He's possibly the best of all time. Mm-hmm. What else does he have to prove? Is he trying to go for records? I mean, he doesn't need money. He's not any hurting for money.
He's not hurting for money at all. He's got his own Facebook TV show, his own brand of clothing. For crying out loud, he's got his own brand of Under Armour pajamas. The man's he's not asking for spare change. and he's not penny pinching. Does Rob Gronkowski retire? He's got some health concerns.
I didn't hear on the TV, but you mentioned in our room the other night that you said that he was thinking of retiring, and
at the podium
last night. He is young of age. Oh, you go ahead and continue to say what you heard.
At the podium last night, someone asked Rob Gronkowski on his future, and he said he's definitely going to take a step back and look at it because he's been banged up.
Yeah, absolutely. He's still young, but he has some major health concerns. I mean, he always has to wear the brace on his elbow. Mm-hmm. He hurt his back however long ago. He had a concussion last game. You got to sit there. That's just what's happened recently. Yeah. There's no telling what doesn't happen in practice. How many jammed fingers that might lead to swelling in the fingers occasionally. You don't know what's happening with them yet.
Yeah, jammed fingers, shin splints. You got to be thinking that Tom Brady's got shin splints.
Well, based on the way he runs, I'd say so.
It was not very quick. I saw a tweet that said it looked like when Tom Brady runs, like when you're running in a dream and you're moving in slow motion. That's what it looked like. And lastly, does Bill Belichick retire?
I don't think he retires anytime soon. He's a man of no emotions, no fear, no care. I think he is just in it until the end. Yeah. He's going to be there for a long time. I don't think he retires anytime soon. I think he stays with New England the rest of his career. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know how the length of his career is going to be, but he's probably going to coach a long time.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of gas left in the coaching tank. But Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, not so much gas left.
And what about James Harrison? James Harrison's aging also. And it's pretty tough to be an older guy on defense. You make quick decisions, be fast, be physical. 39 years old, you start to wonder, when does it take too much big of a toll on you?
And especially on defense and Rob Gronkowski, these guys that are making contact plays, all these hits to the head, and especially with the recent, CTE, all this head trauma and concussions.
The league is taking steps to try to make it safer, but at the same time, in my opinion, they're kind of taking away from the game. But it's what the players need. Yeah. But I don't like it because from an entertainment point of view, you want to watch the big touchdowns, the big hits, the big plays. But if you're a player, you want to sit there and be as safe as you possibly can. You don't want to die on TV.
You want to live past 50 and still able to feed yourself. Ethan, you've had concussions.
I have, and it's not very fun.
How long is usually the turnaround on the concussion protocol? How long do you have to sit out?
Well, the first couple days, the first day or two after it happens, you're feeling really nauseous, sometimes vomiting, and you're lightheaded the whole time. You don't really want to move. You just want to stay in your bed and just kind of sit there and sleep. Take showers with the lights off. You don't want to be around any light. And that's how it is pretty much the first 2-3 days. And then after those days are over, it's just more of a constant headache, constant lightheadedness, and you're sometimes nauseous. The first couple days you don't really eat that much, also, and then it's about like that with a pretty pounding headache until about a week and a half, 2 weeks go by. Then you're feeling better, you're able to start running again. It's about how long it is, about 2 weeks.
But how long are you out of sports?
About 2 weeks, I'd say.
2 weeks.
And after a week and a half, you probably start doing a little bit of running, jogging again, get back in the groove of things. And after 2 weeks, you're probably ready to go again.
Do you think that they rushed Rob Gronkowski?
He had 2 weeks, but he got hit a whole lot harder than I believe I've ever been hit. So So there's no telling how severe. He's also a grown man though. That's been used to that. He's a grown man. He knows his body. He knows his limits.
Yeah,
I don't think he.
You were a sophomore.
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was getting knocked around.
Yeah.
He's a grown man. He knows his limitations, I believe. And you always want to play those big games. No one wants to sit out of the Super Bowl.
Right.
No one wants to be Malcolm Butler.
Right. There was some controversy there. We'll talk about that next episode. But we're crunching on time here, just like Coach Morrison, rather.
You got to talk about Super Bowl ads for a minute. What was your favorite Super Bowl ad?
Super Bowl ads. I'm kind of over the whole Super Bowl ad hype.
You didn't like any of the commercials, or you just don't care for the idea of the commercials?
There was a few that I enjoyed, but none that just made me laugh.
None of them really made me laugh, but I enjoyed a couple of them. The Tide commercials were good. The Doritos commercial was interesting.
There was
the M&M's commercial was funny.
With, what's his name? Danny DeVito. That was almost disturbing to see a grown man
asking the questions he was asking.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm over the Super Bowl hype. But we are out of time today. I said, we're out of time today. So moving on to next episode, we'll talk more about the Super Bowl and the details, the tiny details. Also on Wednesday, we're going to have special guest Dr. Heath Hooper
from the business school,
the dean of the business school here at Shorter University.
He'll be on, talk whatever we decide to talk about.
Yeah, basketball. We'll talk a lot about college basketball, and we'll give you just a little bit more detail on the Super Bowl. But
before we go, I'd like to say an extra thank you to Coach Morrison coming out during this. This is a
hectic time for him.
Signing week comes up. Signing day's tomorrow? Or no, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And he's out here giving us 15, 20 minutes of his time. Yeah, it's really big for us. I really thank him. That's pretty big.
I really do appreciate Coach Morrison coming out, giving us a little bit of insight on the recruiting process, on the future of Shorter football. We know for certain that he's going to do a great job of turning this program around and putting it in the right direction. We saw that was obvious today. That is all we have for today. If you have not already, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, tweet at us, #hot, TEA take. We will read your tweet on the air. Hop on the bandwagon, like I said, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. I'm Justin Franklin.
I'm Ethan Payne.
And this is Touch 'em All Sports Radio. See you next time.